Okay.
Welcome, everybody, to our Saturdays with Tara Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club, and we're on the web at the loaclub.com. On these Hangouts, we collaborate with our friends Tara. This Hangout is the summary of our theme for the week and continues on our member conference line with questions and answers. Today's topic is why feeling good is so important. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer periodically, and our powerful free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. We also want to tell you that the Q&A, which followed this Hangout on Air, which we did earlier today, was fantastic. So now we're going to welcome Robin and Tara and just say that if you want to get access to our Q&A live or to listen to them, you're welcome to become a member by going to the loa.com/join. So now we're going to welcome Robin and Tara.
Welcome to our discussions. These discussions always begin with a foundation, remembering who you are and rediscovering your creative power and the choices you have. Once you know the facts of life, once you know about what you call the law of attraction, then, optionally, you can hover, as many do, around the fringes of it in a mostly status quo existence, or you can make a bigger choice to harness that power and put yourself squarely on a path to new and wondrous possibilities. That bigger choice requires that you think differently. To step out of a world of struggle and into a universe of creative freedom, you must do two things. You must start, as with all starts, with a new conscious choice. And you must continue with commitment, focus, and practice, because that's what is needed. You have to transform that conscious choice into a whole new set of deep-seated thinking habits embedded in your subconscious. The facts of life are in many ways totally upside down from the way you've always thought. The world is not out there, it's in your mind. You don't have to learn how to deal with it because you're creating it. You have to get used to knowing these things. This is the journey we are on. And this week we'll begin with this question. What do we mean when we say that nothing is more important in each and every moment in your life than simply feeling good? For many years after he began intersecting with us, this one had no idea what we were talking about. Now he gets it. Some of you are beginning to get it. In any case, it's worthy of a revisit. So why is feeling good such a big deal? What does it mean if you're feeling bad? Let's start, as we often do, from the cosmic view, the fundamental truth of who you are, because we want you to really understand what's going on with you and your feelings. We want you to see why simply feeling good is the main tent and everything else is just a sideshow. You are at your essence a non-physical entity that thinks and creates this world of yours into beingness. You are the consciousness that has dreamed up and continues to dream up the particular and unique version of this physical game you are playing. And the you that is doing this is just one part of the bigger you that simultaneously thinks and creates in many worlds and many galaxies. And that bigger you is a part of the collective consciousness of all that is. You're an always connected part of the source of everything. And that connection to source is what determines how you feel. Here's how it works. You dreamed up this physical game. You had desires and you made belief choices about why you're here and what's important to you. You made belief choices about everything in your experience. Your story is constructed entirely from those choices. It's a story about the physical you, and it's the story about the matching version of the world that wraps itself around you. And by the way, there are no right or wrong stories. There's just your story here and now. And along the way, you've had contrasting experiences and reacted to them. There are some things you like and you want more of those. There are some things you don't like and you want less of those. Wanted or unwanted, your focus on any particular thing brings more of that into your experience. That's the law of attraction at work. When you're focusing on what you don't want, you pinch off your connection to Source, because Source knows what brings you joy, and it's not going to join you on the path when you're heading in the wrong direction. A pinched connection feels bad. A journey together feels good. So the bottom line is, when you're feeling good, you're heading towards what you want. When you're feeling bad, you're heading in the opposite direction. And that's why we say that nothing is more important in each and every moment in your life than simply feeling good. Feeling good is more important than being right. It's more important than following a process, even though that process might seem to be necessary right now. It's more important than empathizing with someone who's telling you a feel-bad story. It's more important than anything. And here's something else about feeling good. It's always a choice. There's no set of circumstances that has any inherent power to dictate how you feel. Let's do a short exercise here. Think of something that would make a fantastically good difference in your life. Now let yourself feel what it would be like in that version of reality. Really get into it. It feels good, doesn't it? Now remember that and we'll come back to it. Now, think of something disastrous that could happen to you. Just for a few seconds, let yourself really feel what it would be like in that version of reality. Feels bad, doesn't it? Now switch back to that good version. And once again, let yourself feel what that good version feels like. Good. Notice two things. Two highly significant things. Firstly, notice that despite the fact there was absolutely nothing that changed about your so-called physical reality, your feelings moved dramatically. Can you see that the circumstances of your story have no power to set your feelings, except the power which you, by habit, give to those circumstances? Secondly, can you also see that the reason you felt good, then bad, then good again, was that you actually were, right there and then, changing your world? Think about that. Your world is a moment-by-moment creation. What you think is everything. Thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. Once again, feeling good is always a choice. There's no set of circumstances that has any inherent power to dictate how you feel. You may have trained your subconscious to react in a certain way to bad news or things you don't want, but allowing yourself to fall into that hole and keep on digging it deeper is simply a bad habit. And now you know better. As soon as you decide you want to change things, you can. You can choose a better feeling thought. At first, it may not be all that much better, but just a little bit better starts the journey to better and better and better. Nothing is more important than choosing to feel good. So what's in your story? It may be that it's just a physical world and that's it. Your story may be about finding your true life purpose and fulfilling that destiny. Your story may be that you are here to serve God. We're here to serve others. Your story may be about worthiness and inheriting eternal life. Your story may be about learning and moving to a higher level of consciousness. Your story may be about karma and the influence of past lives. Your story may be about astrology and the alignment of the planets. Let's take astrology as an example. For most of his life, this one thought of astrology as nonsense. As he has learned more of the fundamental nature of everything, he now understands it is simply a belief choice and no more right or wrong than his own. His story, perhaps also like many of yours, includes things like time and space and gravity and around planet Earth in a Milky Way galaxy in a huge cosmos. None of these belief choices are absolute. All of them are optional. His world will be similar to your world in many respects, because although each of you are individual conscious entities, and you're all making the unique and individual choices that define your world, what you intersect and interact with will always be a mirror image of those choices. Everything always matches. These are your sideshows. Magnificent sideshows, of course. Incredibly detailed and engaging sideshows, but sideshows nonetheless. We are not, through any of this, encouraging you to disengage from that story. Quite the opposite. We are encouraging you to engage in it, whatever it is, but in the way you originally intended, by keeping everything in perspective. We want you at all times to remember that there's no part of any game that confines you with limited options. Stories are not absolute. You can pick a new sideshow. As you discover parts of your story are fencing you in, and there will be parts like that, your ever-present and infallible emotional guidance system kicks in. And guess what? You don't feel good. This is your starting point. Your story is your context, but now we are entering the main tent. Creating, you see, is what you do. You came here to experience the joy of creating in this different context. As you intersect with others, you are interacting with them within the boundaries you have set. You mix it up and you have experiences. Some wanted, some unwanted. New desires are born. New choices are made, and your world reversions itself around you. This is the fun of it. This is how you create in all of your stories. And it's why it doesn't matter what story you've chosen. And if you're heading in the direction of creating what you want in your experience, your heart sings. You're in the range from peace and pleasure to ecstasy. And any work you are doing to achieve this will feel effortless. But if you're heading away from what you want, if you are creating negatively, your feelings will match, from boredom down to fear or anger to utter despair. You are struggling. Do you see why how you feel is so important? It's the absolute core reason you came here was to experience the joy of creating what you want, and you are heading in the opposite direction. Nothing can be more important than changing course. There's nothing about your story that's more important than feeling good. There are no shoulds, no have-tos, no must-dos on earth or anywhere that can possibly take priority over simply heading in the direction of what you want. There are those among you who say that your feelings cannot be the main intent. It's too superficial, too trivial, that there has to be some more lofty or divine purpose for all of this. Well, we would take you back to who you are. At your heart, you're a creator and a joy seeker. And there is fundamentally no entity here or anywhere that has made decisions about what you should or should not do, or wants anything from you other than to see you rejoicing in this game you are creating. If you can feel how amazing this power is that you have, you will know that it does not come any more lofty or divine than that. There are those of you who think that being over-focused on how you feel is too self-centered. Well, let us assure you that there is no one shared world. This world of yours is the movie of your life, and you are the writer of the screenplay, the director, and the leading actor all rolled into one. The particular versions of those other actors who are showing up in your scenes are faithfully following your screenplay and your direction. But of course, different versions of you are likewise showing up in their movies. But in this one, you are calling the shots. By definition, this one is all centered around you. Then there are those that say we are promoting selfishness. Well, once again, that is a one-world concept. And even in that context, selfishness implies lack, that you are taking for yourself and thereby denying others. And since there's no limit to what each of you can manifest, there can be no lack. Furthermore, what someone else does or doesn't manifest has nothing to do with you. They get what they attract, and you have zero control over that. When you truly get who you are, you know that things like selfishness and blame and victimhood, these are all totally invalid concepts. What we are promoting is the idea that your story is not a fixture. While we encourage you to cherish, nourish, appreciate, and anticipate the good parts, we suggest also that you open up to the idea that you can rewrite the not-so-good parts. How do you know when you're heading into those not-so-good parts? It's simple. It doesn't feel good. Pay attention to those feelings. Don't settle for less than what you want. Find processes that work for you, that help you focus on what you want, and use them until they become a habit, until they are simply a part of who you are. Because you see, nothing is more important than that you feel good. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Be easy about everything. Come at life as if it's truly the game that it is. Relax more. Appreciate more. Laugh more. Make feeling good your life's purpose. No matter what story you chose, you can always choose another one. Be less mesmerized by any particular story and more aware of how you feel about it. Pivot away from negative thoughts and imagine what you want into beingness. If you've dug a hole for yourself, stop digging. Set your intentions once more on feeling good. Feeling good is more than just a good idea. It defines the quality of every part of the life you're living, and it will define the ease with which you transition at the end of it. The main intent has never been that physical stuff you manifest, nor even the non-physical stuff you're making up. The main intent is you, with your hands in the clay of all that is, creating your next masterpiece. Good. And then, of course, there was our longer discussion and questions.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. And earlier today, when we did this call originally, our Q&A was fantastic. So we recommend these calls fully. If you would like to become a member, as we said, go to the loaclub.com/join.